this weather today has me dark. How guys? I was just listening to Malika Gorga's podcast. I wish that I was talking Beverly Hills right now, or wish I was talking about New Jersey right now, but I'm gonna have to do another video and come back because Melissa Gorga did release a podcast today. Thank you to one of my subscribers who let me know that she came out with a podcast this morning, and she is interviewing Joe, her husband. So if you can understand, it's probably gonna have some tea in it. So I'll be back with another video when I finish that. And then we're just gonna kind of recap and talk a little bit about Beverly Hills. If you guys sat in on the Dana Wilkie live special I did this morning. I don't want to repeat too much. I'm sure you guys saw it, but I did want to kind of note on a couple of things that I thought were important. So before we get started, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn those notifications on. I have tea for you guys. I should have put it in the title and I forgot, but I'm going to wait a second on the tea, the really big tea that I have for you. And I'm just going to write it down so I don't forget it. And it has to do with Beverly Hills. Okay. First of all, I want to talk to you guys about Lisa Rinna. She, you know, we spoke about it on Dana Wilkie today, and Dana kind of confirmed what we all were thinking, and that was that this scene was fake. She was completely acting, and she just really laid it on for the cameras. She was working so hard at it that she literally, the guest at the table of the dentist was crying too. It was, yeah, she was faking. So it kind of makes it a hard subject to talk about because of the fact that, you know, she did lose her mother, and so we don't like to tell people how to grieve, but at the same time, we don't feel like necessarily her feelings are completely sincere. Now, another thing that's been all over the internet is Mauricio and Dorit. Oh, what do you guys think about Mauricio and Dorit? She called him Love Bug in the episode. Dana had a clip of them, like, getting on the bus to go somewhere, and Mauricio put his hand on, like, the small of her back. There's just different little signs that kind of have us wondering, because we've had so many blind items about offspring of housewives, which Dana mentioned could possibly be Amelia. So I want to talk to that about you guys. Let's see. And then did you guys see my post about, Alan says, I think Dorit is the housewife sleeping with the married husband. I think it's either her or Erica. It's definitely, they said it was a West Coast housewife, so we know it has to be either Beverly Hills or OC, and process of elimination kind of leaves us with Dorit and Erica. Dorit was allegedly sleeping with the Gucci, I don't know if he was the designer or if he was like the CEO of Gucci. You know, your typical older white dude. I have to go back to that though, guys, because I definitely remember there being some tea about her and her cheating with this guy that's really high up at Gucci. Anyway, guys, let's talk about the fact that we didn't see Cherie Zampino on this episode. Did anyone else think that was strange? Do you guys know where she was or why she allegedly wasn't filming? If so, comment. In this video, just so you guys know, it's going to be more of a discussion. So if you're looking for just facts, you know, and you just want a quick rundown, this video is not going to be for you because we're going to be going back and forth with comments. Alan said, I can definitely see her sleeping with that man for Gucci clothes. The thing about Mauricio is that we've heard so many rumors about him and his cheating ways. Even when the Real Housewives started, Camille had made a comment in one of her confessionals about the fact that Mauricio, well, she said something about him like cheating with the nannies, basically. Then we had the book come out, who we know it was a person who lived the Hollywood lifestyle, and they were in the sex industry, and they were transgender, and they wrote about their meetings with Mauricio and some of his fetishes, and that he was a regular customer. and he would come there and have a great time. That was actually put in a book that was published. If you guys are interested in that, you can check it out on my community page. I posted the photo of the cover of the book, and you can look it up that way. So we have all these cheating rumors circling Mauricio. And then we also, I think Kyle seems very messy this season. Kyle, when she's drunk, I notice this about her. Like, she flips her hair around a lot. And then she has, like, it must make her tired. I don't know. She sounds nasally, like she has, like, sinus issues going on when she drinks. And so I can pick up on it easily, I think, when she's, like, had too many drinks. And last night I definitely feel like in the episode she had too many drinks. She can't hold her head up sometimes. Like, you'll start seeing her always resting her head. Now, Dana gave a great point. She said, sometimes producers give you have to, basically, they're going to keep you there hostage until you talk about this, whatever they want you to talk about, basically. And we've heard that before from other franchises. So I believe that. So her way was like that Lisa was basically just taking over and getting it out the way. Like, she was just going to do the whole scene, have a big blow up, and get it out the way, right? It just did not seem very sincere to me. Cherie Zampino wasn't anywhere to be found, but Kathy Hilton was a guest at the dinner. Before I get off subject, did anyone watch her on Watch What Happens Live? Oh my gosh. I don't know why she goes on Watch What Happens Live, because Kathy is not up to speed with news or other people. I'm not saying she's self-involved by any means, but she has her own shit going on because she has so much money. She doesn't have to, network, or everything is pretty much within her circle. And so she doesn't know a lot of, like, news and stuff that's going on. She doesn't watch Bravo. She probably barely watches the episodes. And then she goes on Watch What Happens Live, and she gets asked all these questions that she can't answer. And she kind of makes, I don't know, I don't even want to say an ass out of herself, but maybe a little bit. And, she looks so confused when she's on there, because I don't think she really knows who these people are. I'm not lying. I don't think she watched Real Housewives even when Kyle was on there. So she said that someone looked like Precious, which everyone's kind of taking as a, like, racist comment. Sorry guys, I'm just so dark. I don't know if it's my iPad or what, but I feel like I'm so dark today here sitting. I don't want to go up in my office because I spent enough time there working. So I could go upstairs and grab my light, but I'm hoping that it's maybe lighter on your guys' end, and maybe it's just dark because my I don't know, because it's my iPad. Renna was doing an Amber Heard cry. Are you seeing all of the comments, Housewives people saying hello? Yes. Thank you guys. You guys gave us such a great turnout for Dana's her YouTube, her live today. I'm gonna have her on my show. We're gonna try to make plans and give you guys a date in advance. Thank you guys, any of you that supported. Joanne, exactly, crying without tears. Barbara said, I understand why people are hard on Kathy, because she doesn't recognize people. She doesn't know, like, whenever they're asking her stories about feuds and this and that, she simply just does not know. She didn't follow Bravo. She didn't talk to Kyle for years and years and years, so she's not going to know what was going on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She probably made an effort to not know what was going on. She probably didn't want to know what was being said. It was her sister that she wasn't speaking with, so I doubt that she was watching diligently. Did you guys notice who was in the audience? Faye Resnick was in the audience with Chrystal's husband, RHOBH, who gives me very weird vibes. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I have confirmed it after watching last night. He makes me feel creepy. I don't like RHOBH. Even when they show next week's episode when he's hugging Chrystal because she's, like, upset about her eating disorder, it's awkward. It's very awkward. Chrystal was good on Watch What Happens Live. She was definitely trying to, I guess, kind of be Kathy's wingman. She was trying to help cover up Kathy's hunky-dory, responses, where it was just bad. It was just very, very bad. And Faye was in the audience, and she kind of dogged Andy Cohen and the Real Housewives because they were live and they shot to RHOBH, who was Chrystal's husband, and I said, I think that's Faye sitting next to him. And then he goes, hey Faye, how are you? And she's like, great. And he's like, you know, basically, like, what do you think now that you were a part of, like, a franchise that we didn't know was going to be explosive, and like you were part of, you know, the newer days when it first was coming out and you were in the mix. And she goes, I'm a designer, Andy, so I don't really get into reality drama, but like she dogged it. And if any of you guys watched it, you saw it. And I thought, in a way, you're kind of dogging Kathy, unless if her and Kathy are talking behind the scenes and that's their opinion on the Real Housewives. You know, they're just not into drama, so they don't really care if they're on the show or not. Just like we know Kathy came out and said that she would never do full time, which we told you guys this. She would never ever do full time because it's too much work, and they have a lot of press, and they have to, you know, basically run everything past production. I think it was Up and Adam, and he was talking about how production makes the ladies show their outfit first. Like, they have to take a picture in it, and then they have to send it to production, and then production will okay it. So that they have a variety of, you know, styles and such. I knew that during confessionals that sometimes they would make the ladies repeat the confessional look, and they may give them a photo and be like, you need to recreate this look. But I didn't know that they would be running all their outfits past production, because it doesn't make sense when you think about the episode where Erica and Lisa Rinna show up together in that bright pink suit, and they're at Tom Girardi's. Tom and Erica are hosting them for dinner. It was the last time you saw Tom Girardi on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Erica and Lisa Rinna were both wearing that pink suit, and they acted like they didn't know it. Do you remember? Lisa was like, oh my God! Right? So, were they faking, and production let them wear the same thing on purpose, or they both wanted to so badly production said you guys can go dressed alike? I don't know. Or production doesn't really care what they wear, they just want to make sure it looks good. I don't know. You know, there's a lot of filming involved. Kathy, you know, if something doesn't come off well, she wants to be able to have control. This is where Kathy should have taken a note from Kris Jenner's book. Kris Jenner controlled the narrative on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and she controlled her own edit, and that is the problem here. And that's why all of them are very anxious, and no one's really running a narrative yet on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because they don't know how Bravo's going to air it yet. If you guys notice, they don't know how Bravo is going to air everything. Lisa Rinna was definitely playing offense before the episode even came out last night, reminding us of her grief, dealing with her mother, letting us know that it had been 7 months from the time that her mother died till when they buried her. We talked about this on Dana's show. It's a hard subject when people's moms die. I'm sure everyone does deal with trauma and death differently. However, we're just not seeing it anywhere else except for when Lisa's really around the other women as a group. We don't see it come out when it's just her and Sutton having lunch. We don't see any scenes where she's taking her grief out on Harry, or she's crying, or she's talking to family. I don't know. It just doesn't seem very genuine to me or authentic, but I want to know what you guys think about that. Also, there was somebody brought into the party, if you guys remember, at Dorit and PK's house, that we had seen before, who is affiliated with LVP. Dana said she knows who this is, and she knows a lot about this person, Dwight. Yes. So we got to do some research as well and find out what is the deal with this man, because I didn't have a chance to look into it, but I really want to. Now, are you guys also noticing how much less we're seeing of Diana? I mean, we are barely seeing her. We see her confessionals we've seen 2 looks. They haven't even introduced another look. Everyone's saying Dwight. Yes, Dwight from last night's episode. I want to know more about him. Do any of you guys remember what his deal is? Like, what he has going on? I don't think it's Dwight, though. It's not the guy that was at the dinner party that, you know, allegedly likes to go skiing, and he provides the snow for everyone. We saw him the night that Kathy Hilton came out of Craig's wearing a tablecloth. It was Faye, and I think that was Dwight. So that is not the same guy that we saw last night. This is a different guy. This isn't the, like, drug dealer Dwight. Dwight was in old episodes with Taylor Armstrong. Then maybe that is it. I don't remember. You know what? I'll just Google it real quick. Did you guys see, while I'm doing that, did you guys see the Instagram post that I did on my live about about Diana putting in her Instagram, she used the word RAPED instead of the word WRAPPED, like wrapped. She used rate 8 in her Instagram post story about her daughter having them wrapped around her finger. Oh, so messy. Who was at the dinner party with... They're going to come up with Melissa Etheridge. That's probably what Google's going to tell me. He wasn't mentioned by name in the episode. Thank you, Harriet. I know that Dana mentioned him. Dwight was in the episodes where Brandy says F you to Paul. Oh, that's funny. I wonder about Dana and Taylor now that Taylor's coming back on the OC, because they were really good friends when they filmed. So I'm curious if Taylor... when like the OC eventually films and comes out and they start doing press and stuff, I wonder if Taylor's going to reunite with Dana and give us some tea or help run her own narrative. Who knows? Diana, talking about how her husband grew up on Broadway, she said. She spoke about how she loved that he was still very childlike in his maturity level, even, she implied, because she said that she had to be the person that basically was, the rock in the marriage, or the one that took care of anything that had to do with, aggression or conflict or problematic. Then she was the one that dealt with it, and that he was very childlike, almost meaning like he wasn't even mature, like emotionally, or... I mean, that's kind of what I got from her. She was basically saying, like, he wasn't mature. He grew up on Broadway. He got a lot of attention. Was she saying that he had an ego or something? I don't know. It was very weird. I want to know what you guys think. A lot of people have been commenting about the child clip. How she is, like, refers to him as a child, like, 3 times in the confessional. He's so young as it is. She talks about how much she loves children. She's 50, and she wants to continue to get... IVF and try to have a baby, starting in March, and her husband is encouraging that. It's just very I don't know. Harriet said, I found it very creepy. Paul said, yep, that was weird. Creepy. When she said that about Broadway, I wondered about abuse. I thought the same exact thing. I didn't get to see the rest of your comment. I thought the same exact thing, that he could, we talk about this all the time, guys. Whenever, children, actors, they're left alone a lot. They're in situations where they're around adults, producers, writers, and we know how vulnerable children are. We can't trust them in church. We can't trust them with police. We can't trust them at the school, because we know these pedophiles are everywhere. So it's possible that he could have, and, we know that this is a common narrative with child stars, child actors, people involved in the business when they're young, vulnerable, and they spend time away from their parents. They're around a lot of adults. It happens very more common than we probably know. So it's very possible that he could have been abused, and maybe that's why this trauma bond between him and Diana. I'm not sure. Do you guys think he seems immature? He does seem immature to me. He's very well spoken, and I think that he could conversate with anyone. And he's probably very cultured and very diverse, but yeah, I don't think that something's off there. I don't know, something's off. And then she talked about how much she loved kids. I was like, oh my God in heaven, what the hell is going on right now? And I'm like, did they do that on purpose? Like, I'm not even trying to laugh because it's really not funny, but I'm like, did production do that on purpose? Like, we know production was the people who allegedly leaked the whole racist thing about Kathy Hilton, because there are people involved in production, cameramen, producers, and things that are of different, they're not all Caucasian. And so when this happened with Kathy Hilton behind the scenes and Bravo started to cover it up, it was actually production who leaked this whole Kathy Hilton racial slur at the restaurant. Okay, I don't think they leaked the one about that Erica claimed with the assistant. The restaurant where Kathy Hilton allegedly made the racial slur, all of that was leaked by someone in Bravo production, just so you guys know that. So sometimes they're on our team too. Sometimes they don't like these women. I mean, they work with them day in and day out, and we hear about how shitty Heather Dubrow and some of these people, treat producers. We've heard it time and time again. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's very possible that if they felt like she did something like that and Bravo was covering it up, they definitely leaked it. And then once they leaked it, I feel like it was game on with Lisa Rinna and Erica, right? What do you guys think about the charity, Homeless Not Toothless? I think Ben said a great point that on Watch What Happens Live, they actually said it wrong and nobody even corrected them. I think they know what public perception of Dinah is and they're playing into it. I heard Erica's the only one that heard this from Kathy. I think so. I think it was Sutton's assistant and it was allegedly at the airport. And I think that it's possible Erica could be maybe she is lying and she did it to back Lisa Rinna up because Lisa didn't want to be the only one taking on Kathy Hilton and bringing up the racial slur at the restaurant. So if they could be like, oh, well, she also used a racial slur this time and Erica heard it, then it's kind of like they're co-signing each other's story, right? They're just co-signing for each other. Helpful and cosmetic long-term dental care would be more helpful and cosmetic dentistry. Yes, producers have changed. I think they are starting, I don't know. I think that they know that they're not showing us much of Diana at all. For being a new housewife, when we first saw her, she got way more camera time in the beginning than she's getting now. Why not someone who's homeless need teeth more than a home or food? It's weird. Well, that's because in California, they have such a high rate of population because the weather is always warm, okay? So they don't have to worry about wintertime. And these are like in Las Vegas, if you've watched, there's been documentaries of people that live underneath the bridge in Las Vegas, and they have a whole setup with beds and a couch and separate rooms. Like they hang a sheet up and they're literally under a bridge and that's all of their things, and it's set up like a little apartment, kind of, not really, but kind of. And so that's where they live, and because it's warm, they don't ever have to like worry about the climate unless if it rains. And obviously in Las Vegas, the desert, it doesn't rain a lot, so they don't have to worry about it. So it's very common for people to be homeless. That's why there's so many homeless people. If they can go to the beach during the day, like it's night, like it's just way different than it is everywhere else in the United States. There's a lot of homeless in California. So there's also a lot of people doing projects with the homeless. They put up like those little tiny houses. And so if homeless people are taking advantage of like the tiny houses or whatever the resources are, then maybe they do need the teeth more than the housing. I'm not sure how they do it. Maybe they don't necessarily take someone that is homeless and maybe the program helps them also get on their feet, like, gets them the teeth, but also helps, put them in contact with other resources and agencies that would help them. I'm sure that would probably be the case. I just couldn't get over the fact that Dorit said that Sharon Stone knocked on her door and told her that this was a great cause. PK refers to his incident as a DUI, but Dorit refers to it as like an incident. Did you guys notice that? I just shake my head. The Versace belt that he gave to Mauricio, it does seem like PK is like kissing Mauricio's ass. And we talked about this, guys. We know that they were supposed to do a reality show overseas in London with real estate, etc., etc. Whatever happened, it did not pull through. And then shortly after, Mauricio has this Netflix deal. So maybe PK is like kissing his ass so that he can get in a little bit on the show, get his people in, whatever the case may be. It definitely seems like he's kissing Mauricio's ass. And then when PK asked him, like, take our wives out, he had to say it 3 different times for Mauricio to pick up what he was putting down when he was saying, like, if we had to choose a woman in the room, who would it be? And so then he, you know, obviously he says his wife, and then PK's like, no, take our wives out of the equation. And Mauricio says, Dorit. And PK's like, no, take both our wives out of the equation. Then who will it be? 1, 2, 3. And he says, PK says Erica, and Mauricio says Rena. And this is where Dana and I were talking today, a little bit of tea here, on a blind item that was talking about a Real Housewives husband and a Real Housewives offspring. And allegedly, maybe there's some accusations regarding, like, Amelia, Lisa Rinna's daughter, and Kyle's husband. Why wasn't Sharon Stone there? Jojo, that's a great freaking question, actually. I love that question. I think that we should tweet that to Watch What Happens Live for the reunion, because, by the way, Andy is on Twitter taking questions for the reunion. So good time to tweet him any questions that you guys have. I think that's a great question. Why wasn't Sharon Stone there? Right? She should have been, if like, she had the dentist and his family there, and whenever Erica did, whenever Kyle did the benefit at her house, you know, we got to meet Jamie Lee Curtis. So, Amelia, I didn't get to see the rest of that. Does PK want to be on Mauricio's show? Yes. PK needs to make money. He needs to get publicity. You know, that's kind of his income. So any, you know, sort of thing like that, he definitely wants to be involved and wants to get, you know, the attention. Did you guys think that he was having dinner with Lionel Richie and John Legend? I'll give him Lionel Richie because, you know, that's kind of more his age group, more his swag. I feel like Lionel's a little more down to earth. You know, he's been in LA for a long time. Blase. The John Legend, I just couldn't really get down with. I just don't see that. Unless if maybe Lionel and John were getting together and PK was Lionel Richie's guest. That could be the situation. Or there could have been a dinner party, not a intimate 3-person dinner. It could have been like a dinner party. And John Legend and Lionel Richie were there. And so he said, I was having dinner with them. Because he couldn't say he was having drinks with them because he was driving home. So he had to say that he was having dinner with them. Maybe he was only having drinks with them. Maybe he stopped to have a glass of wine at his favorite restaurant and Lionel and John Legend were there. And so he said we were having dinner together, which really meant we were having drinks together. But really, he just happened to stumble upon them. Don't you think he would say, like, what he was doing with them and why he would be having dinner with them? Like, we're working on a business adventure. Oh, I mean, if they were their friends, we would freaking know it. Like, PK and Dorit name drop. You know, they brought Boy George on. They couldn't wait for all of us to know that, you know, they were close with Boy George. I feel like they're name droppers. So if he had any sort of business endeavors with John Legend or Lionel Richie, I think we would know about it. I'm just saying. I think we would know about it. So in my opinion, I don't think it was a planned dinner. I just think that he may have ran into them. I don't know. I just don't believe that he is hanging out with them on a social level. I don't. I can't help it. But you guys comment and let me know what you guys think about that. We talked about Dorit calling Mauricio her love bug. And we talked about PK kind of having his own language when it comes to Erica. If you guys remember in the episode, he's talking to Erica and he says that the point of his whole story about his DUI is that sometimes you think you're okay when you're not. And it was like they were talking their own language. And I'm just telling you guys, they're both like sleazy. And yes, PK may not be like balling with lots and lots and lots of money, but Erica is flat broke, okay? She's taking money from people that DM her that are like vulnerable old people that watch the show, and she's taking advantage of them. She's on the show saying that she needs 6 clients. That's all she needs. She's looking for 6 clients for her, you know, dungeon and her S&M. And I just think that she doesn't need a lot of money. She's like, you know, she doesn't, to like the Hollywood world, Erica is kind of washed up. She's washed up. I'm sorry, but she is. And I don't think anyone really wants to pay for that. But PK would, because he doesn't have a lot of money, so therefore that would probably be getting him the biggest bang for his buck. Yes, that's what I think. I think PK is getting the biggest bang for his buck through Erica. And I said what I said. I'm just saying. When it comes out and it's true, I can't wait, because I know it. I can feel it in my soul. I think that he's sleazy, she's sleazy. Dorit probably isn't into that sort of love making, dominatrix type of you know, whatever. And I think PK knows that Erica is, and he probably, you know, gives her extra for any sort of really freaky things like feet fetish or something that he may have that we don't know about. And I think they have an arrangement. I 1000 think they have an arrangement. And the fact that they have to hide it from Dorit, from everyone, you know, Erica really doesn't have anything to hide. She doesn't really have anything to lose. PK has to hide it from Dorit, of course. So I feel like, of course, the idea of hiding it from everyone, from viewers, from production, from spouse, whatever the case may be, it like makes it even more like erotic for them. So at that point, I feel like Erica is getting something out of it because she is, you know, sleeping with Dorit's husband. Just saying. That's my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. Sutton's killing it. I mean, she is just really killing it this season. I'm thankful that we have her. I hate that Lisa Rinna mocks her Southern accent. And I don't know if she means to do that, because sometimes I talk with a Southern accent when I'm feeling like crazy. My Southern accent comes out like hard. I can't help it. But Lisa Rinna does it. She's not she's not loving when she does it, because she never used to do it before until they started, you know, this whole fight. And she kept saying like she wanted an answer. She wanted to know why Sutton would do that. And it's just like, Lisa, my goodness, you've been embarrassed about this enough. Like, you're not going to change anything. We already know. We have the tax documents. Like, you're making yourself look bad at this point. You really got to let it go, because it's just making you and Harry look worse, right? She said Harry was staying in because of COVID. A little strange as well. And I told you guys before, I think Lisa Rinna's contract with Bravo, you know, includes 1 or 2 episodes with Harry. And I think Lisa Rinna's contract with Harry includes him filming like once or twice for the Beverly Hills Housewives. Because I definitely think Harry and Lisa have a contract. They don't have a marriage. They have it all worked out. You know, how many months he can spend in Canada. Don't embarrass each other, you know, sleeping around. It's just my opinion. Also, let me see. Monkeypox Harry is the friend of monkeypox. Another point somebody made that was so great. How come Harry was drinking the wine? He allegedly is in recovery. We've heard Lisa Rinna say this before when she talked about Kim Richards and Kim Richards' alcoholism. And it was strange because she said that Harry had been sober for 20 some years, and that the addiction ran in his family, alcoholism did, and that his brother actually died from it. And so people on Twitter were tweeting that they thought it was very strange that Harry would be partaking in the wine tasting if he is sober. So I guess our question would be, maybe Harry didn't have a problem with alcohol. Maybe he had a problem with a different substance. So whenever when Lisa said that Harry was sober, maybe she meant he was like sober from cocaine or sober from other types of street drugs. And that maybe that's why he can drink. Maybe he doesn't have a problem with drinking. Maybe he has a glass of wine. It's not a big deal. And so he drank and, you know, did the wine tasting. But there's definitely a lot of people on Twitter that were addressing that. And of course they were saying if that was Kim Richards, she would be, you know, Lisa would never ever let it slide, we would all know about it. And then a lot of people, this was a very big topic of conversation as well, was people saying that Kyle is everything she accused LVP of being. So let's say that again. Kyle Richards has now became everything that she accused LVP of doing, especially last night. Now, Dana said this is because Kyle didn't get a lot of screen time last episode because she was sick with COVID, and so this was her way of coming in, trying to get a little bit more time, and they wanted to get it over with producers so they didn't have to be stuck at the dinner. But I don't know. I think she was starting trouble, and I don't think she minded doing it. It just is kind of shitty that she's done this to Sutton like 3 different times now. Like, literally puts her on blast, and it's so rude that Sutton says like she sets a boundary and she says, I don't want to do this right now, Kyle. Like, this is not the time or place. Like, she tells Kyle, this is not the time or the place for it. Kyle does give 0 F's that Sutton said that. And I just feel like that really shows, besides the fact that she's shown that she's thrown Sutton under the bus like all season, anything and everything that she could, the whole Diana situation, that whole dysfunctional thing that was happening with Kyle and her like shaking Sutton and holding her tight by the arms, and it was very telling of the person that Kyle is. And so when we see her do this in last night's episode, I want to know what you guys think, but I think she did 1,000% on purpose, and her disregarding and doing exactly what Sutton asked her not to do was her way of basically telling everyone that she doesn't care what Sutton says. Like, she basically has no respect for her or respect for what she's saying. And it's very, very obvious to me. Is it obvious to you guys? It was done in poor taste, Chocolate says. Kyle is a fool, and I see right through her. Kyle has thrown Sutton under the bus more than I can count. I think you were trying to break Sutton as of yet. It's not worked. Of course, it was on purpose. It was obvious, Barbara says. Kyle cares about Kyle, says Chocolate. Yes. Kyle does that even to stay on the show. Yep, she's a quiet producer. Kyle's friend only, no one else. She doesn't even care for her sisters. Kathy seemed uncomfortable. When they didn't show a lot of her either, but when they did, she seemed uncomfortable about what Kyle was doing. I think she thought it was rude. I think she was embarrassed of Kyle. And again, I think Kyle either is drinking to, grow the kahunas to do this type of stuff because she can't do it behind the scenes. She doesn't really have anyone to like manipulate and move. And so she's really having to do her own dirty work right now. And so maybe to get the courage to do the dirty work on camera and in front of all of the viewers, she has to have some drinks in her. And maybe she doesn't know her limit anymore, because I think that the night that she was doing those splits and throwing her legs up in the air and spreading her legs at that party with that leotard on was a drunk person, right? And she always flips her hair and she can't hold her head up when she's drinking. And Mauricio seemed so stoned that PK had to say it 3 different ways to say, like, who would you want to bang out of these women if you couldn't say my wife or your wife? So crazy. And it was shitty of Kyle to make fun of the, the whole, like, foundation behind Dorit's back and behind the people that are working through the foundation to help people. I guarantee that the money that they donate to homeless, not toothless, probably does more, like, the people that will actually see the benefits of that money 10 times more than the checks she writes to LA Children's Hospital to add a wing on or to do construction, okay? I don't think the kids probably really reap from that so much, not, immediately at least. And I think it's such a big organization, the LA Children's Hospital. I don't know, whenever you make donations to these really, really big foundations, you sometimes wonder how much of this actually reaches the people who need it. So sometimes in a smaller foundation like Dorit's, your money is actually where your money is actually going, and that it's actually going to help someone. It's not going to something or for the flower. It's going to the people who the benefit, the whole reason that they are having the charity. That I do like. And I liked Dorit in this episode. I liked that she didn't act too snobby to say homeless, not toothless. And that, they were kind of addressing PK's teeth, which weren't perfect. And one was chipped and they were kind of yellow. And, PK was joking about it. And I liked that. And it's Kyle being very, very uppity. Like, she is too good to, she'll send a check. Because she can't even go to a charity event that's called Homeless, Not Toothless. I'm just saying. I think Kathy works with like homeless programs more than Kyle does. That's just what I've seen. I've seen some like footage of Kathy and Kyle and Kim like helping the homeless in LA, and Kathy was like trying to start a foundation to help feed the homeless. And this was a long, long time ago when Paris first made it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like that feeling of Kyle acting like she's better than everyone. I hope that the children get it. 25,000 does not much with construction. Have they shown Rena's daughters at all this season? No, Ben, they have not. Maybe Kyle's hostile towards Dorit because of Mauricio has a crush on him. That could very well be, guys. That very well could be. I think that Kyle and Mauricio are both distancing themselves from Dorit and PK, and I'm telling you guys, it's over a bad business dealing over this whole agency and the show that they were supposed to do in London. They even were doing auditions. People tried out for the show, and something happened, it fell through, and I also think that, again, we already know that Kyle and Mauricio aren't the kind of people that you're going to be friends with forever. That's not the case. One minute they'll be hanging out with Teddy and Edwin every single day, pool parties, kids, blase. They'll be going on vacation. They'll be in Aspen, listening to John Mellencamp, give Kyle private concerts because she's Teddy's best friend. We see them hop around. It's like whoever's in or whoever is meeting their needs for attention, that's where they go. So they're not someone that will say long-term friends, get with a couple and just hang out with them. They did it with Lisa and her husband because of the fact that I think Kyle was always kind of using Lisa Vanderpump for status, especially in the beginning. And she was definitely using Lisa for real estate transactions for Mauricio. If you guys go back and watch, which I tell you to do all the time, at the beginning of the seasons, whenever Camille got mad at Kyle, and you know what she told her? Mauricio ain't our realtor no more, girl. That's what she said. She said, well, Mauricio's not going to be the realtor anymore. And this had nothing to do with Mauricio or her husband. It was just because Kyle and Camille weren't getting along, and Camille felt like Kyle was like coming for her. And so she was like, Mauricio can't, do real estate transactions with Kelsey anymore. Kyle was devastated. If you guys do not remember, go back and watch. She was devastated. She was crying about it. Finally, they made up at the reunion, and at the end, Camille was like, I guess Mauricio can be our realtor again now. It was obvious that Kyle it was very, very obvious that Kyle was keeping Camille and Kelsey as clients because her husband made a lot of money off them, okay? A lot of money. She wasn't even hiding it from viewers. So make sure you guys go back and watch that. It kind of says something. I mean, if you guys remember, I think Lisa Vanderpump even said it on one of the reunions. Because who are they saying? I think maybe in a couple episodes or a couple seasons later, Camille says she feels like Kyle used her for Mauricio to do their real estate. And then Lisa Vanderpump, I think, said that she felt that Kyle and Mauricio were hanging out with her and her husband because they wanted Mauricio wanted to sell their house. And I believe it. Do you guys remember that? Was Teddy upstairs with Melissa Etheridge? Probably. I agree with Camille when she says, what is real with Dorito? Kyle calls Mauricio, I think you guys are so funny. Kyle called Mauricio crying. I remember. Yes, Stacy. Kiki, you look so familiar. Where have I seen you before? TV? Nope, just YouTube, sissy. Yes, she was crying. She was so devastated. I think she got it in a text message. She was at lunch somewhere. Lisa Vanderpump said at a reunion once, Kyle is only friends with people who are selling houses. Mm, mm, mm. Told you guys. That's why you got to go back and watch. I'm telling you. That's why. And so funny because didn't Tedwin and Eddie sell? First of all, when we first met Teddy and Edwin, they didn't live in the house that we saw them film in. They lived in a house across the street. They were still in the Hollywood Hills, but they were in a not as nice as a house. If you guys remember, they actually go to the house and do like a walk through the house that we end up seeing them film in for the what year that she was on the show, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. You know, the one that was like plexiglass. It was like had an edge on it over, and they were like worried about the kids, and there was like no backyard. And so they ended up selling that and buying a house in the valley, right? So Mauricio probably sold their house and helped them get that mansion in the valley. And now we're not really seeing Kyle and Teddy and Mauricio and Edwin all four hang out. I think Kyle will stay friends with the wife, probably as like you know how like you have people, I don't know, like your doctor sends you a birthday card or Christmas card or whatever. Like Kyle's kind of like that. She's like the little reminder that we're here to sell a house. If you know you decide that you need to sell your house, I'm going to be friends with you just enough that, you know, if you need a realtor, you'll think of my husband. Just saying. So we know that he sold their house, and then found them a house, so he would have made money off all of that. And he was also making money. He is named in the lawsuit against Tom and Erica with the whole spelling manner. And I did ask Dana Wilkie about it, and she is 1,000%, like I said, with me and cooperating everything that is in that complaint that was filed with the court. Okay, people are Ronald Richards, these people out in Beverly Hills, LA, that have relationships with the Hiltons, with Mauricio. Again, guys, if anyone speaks up against this lawsuit, they're not just taking Erica on, they're taking on everyone named in it, which is also Hilton and Highland, Rick Hilton, and Mauricio. So I don't think Ronald Richards is going to come out and say anything about any of them, because they're all very powerful people, especially in the real estate world. Beverly Hills is not a big place. It's not a huge, it has 2 high schools. So it's important to remember that it's a small community of wealthy, privileged people in Beverly Hills, and they're not going to come up against each other if they want to do good and stay in Beverly Hills, right? Just saying. Kathy looked good on Watch What Happens Live last night. Like I said, guys, she was on with Chrystal. Oh, the tea! I'm going to tell you guys the tea. Are you ready? Okay. Do you guys remember Dame Dash? She is the daughter. Freaking airplane. You gotta be kidding me. I swear to God, I've had like the craziest day today. Technical difficulties right and left. My lighting was shitty during my live, and now I got this airplane overhead. I'm so sorry. Give me 2 seconds, guys, because I want to make sure that you guys hear this. It's very important, and I have proof. I will post on the community page if you guys want it. The tea is about, so you guys saw Diana has a son that has a girlfriend. We saw that, right? Do you guys remember? We saw the girl, her name, she is a son of Dame Dash, who was, I think, a singer. Was he a comedian or a singer? I can't remember, to be honest with you. Maybe he did both. But I think he was a comedian. And his wife was Becky with the good hair. If you guys remember, whenever Beyonce came out with her Lemonade album, and she was talking about Jay-Z cheating on her, and she talked about Becky with the good hair in the song, and everyone was trying to find out who Jay-Z was, you know, cheating on Beyonce with, and that's pretty much what they came down to, was Becky with the good hair. It was Dame Dash's wife. Their daughter is named Ava, and she was shown on the show as Diana's son's girlfriend. But we have seen her before. I love Bravo fans. Did you guys know she is Chrystal's nanny? So Ava, Dame Dash and Becky with the good hair's daughter, Ava, is also Chrystal's nanny. Let's sit with that for 1 second. Like, these people are all connected. All of them. Also directs his own independent movies that shows how small Hollywood is. Yes, Marsha. Yes, 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 guys. I'm telling you, Ava is Chrystal's nanny. I have photos from when they showed it 2 seasons ago. Pause. Dame Dash co-owned Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z. Thank you for that. There's also the correlation with Jay-Z and Becky with the good hair. Supposedly they don't have a whole lot of money nowadays. I'm not really sure if that's true or not, but we have clips of Ava, the girlfriend, in last year's episodes, and it's just real quick. They shoot to her and they label her Ava, Chrystal's nanny. So Chrystal has a nanny and a housekeeper. I was mistaken because I thought Chrystal's housekeeper, the one that's always like cooking with her in the shows and they show her on the show, I thought that she probably helped take care of the children as well because, you know, they're like not in diapers. They're, you know, they're wiping their own butts. So I feel like I don't know how much attention, like I don't know what kind of nanny status, you know, full-time, part-time, midnights. I don't know what kind of nanny you would need if you have a housekeeper that's helping too. Dame Dash was also engaged to Aaliyah. I didn't know that. Thank you for that. I did not know that. So yeah, guys, that was the tea that I wanted to give you. I didn't want to... I told you guys I'm having a rough day today. Why am I zoomed in now? Ugh. So yeah, that's the tea I wanted to give you guys about the nanny. It is crazy, right? And some people were talking about how they felt like Diana's son was ordering her around. Did you guys get that? Did you pay attention at all? Probably need to go back and watch. I'm going to go back and rewatch it as well. I think that we saw her at the Christmas party when Diana's 2 children, her son and her daughter, attended, and they were filmed, and we didn't see them for very long, but they did show, I think, the son's girlfriend. I can't remember his name. He has like a weird name that starts with an I, is Diana's son's name. We don't hear much about the daughter. But I just feel like what a tangled web of people out there in Hollywood, because we hear all this crazy stuff about, you know, producers, Disney producers. We heard a lot of stuff about The Lion King for years and years and years, and RHOBH was a major producer on that. And then we hear all these rumors about Diana and, you know, children and trafficking and just all sorts of very, you know, horrible things. And then, you know, they have the same people. They run with the same people. It's just very crazy. And again, Beverly Hills is not that big of a town. It's really not. And so they all kind of know each other. I just was surprised that she would be Chrystal's nanny. It just surprised me. Did Chrystal act like she knew Diana when Diana came on? I can't remember. I'm going to have to go back and watch. I don't remember Chrystal really saying much about Diana. Even in confessionals, I don't remember her saying much about Diana. They showed a clip of Diana visiting her, and they were talking about the whole eating disorder thing, and Diana did seem, you know, concerned and, you know, wanted Chrystal to go get help, but we didn't see, like, very long scene with them, just, you know, a couple of minutes. So I don't know. I want to know if Chrystal, she would have had to have known Diana. They would have known of each other, I'm sure. I mean, if the little girl, well, she's not a little girl anymore, she's old enough to be dating, I guess, and take care of kids, then I'm sure, I don't know, maybe if she's close with them, like, you would tell your boss if you had a boy that you were dating or your boyfriend, especially at that age, because you know they want to be together all the time. They're young and in love, so it would make sense that she would talk about her boyfriend to Chrystal. I don't know. I just think they might have known each other, and they're trying to play us. What do you guys think? I want to know what you guys think about Kathy Hilton, too, and if you watched her on Watch What Happens Live. It's live, flying on me now. yeah, guys, I don't know. This is all very crazy. Between New Jersey and Beverly Hills, it's a lot of work keeping up with everything that's going on with these people. But I'm excited. I'm going to do another video on New Jersey. I'm not going to do it live because I'm struggling today, but I will get it up today. It might have to be in 2 parts because, like I said, Melissa and Joe just did a podcast this morning. I am almost done with it, but they are really coming for Teresa. And it's just so funny to me that Melissa has this whole platform to say, you know, her opinion, and now Teresa is getting a podcast too. So I feel like their podcasts are going to be fighting. Like they're going to be fighting with each other through podcasts. I mean, hello. It's New Jersey, right? What else can you expect? But make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. I am trying to grow. Check out Dana's live. She has a Patreon. I'm also got some big things going on too, guys. I'm setting up a hotline, if you will. It will be a number that you guys can text. You can text me your email addresses. I can put you guys like on lists to be like notified if you want to be notified when there's lives, and then like just different kinds of Bravo content. But you can text whatever you want. So if you have tea or a question, you guys can just text me directly. I'm gonna post the number on my description for you. I can leave it in the comments today so that you guys have it. But it'll just be strictly for us to correspond, you know, about Bravo content. It's a little bit difficult on YouTube because there's no messenger, so you guys can't always correspond with me directly if you know, have information or, you know, whatever the case may be. This way you can just reach me directly via text. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that, and I think it'll be a great way to communicate sometimes, especially, you know, people... sometimes commenters have tea. Sometimes they have contact information. I just think you need to be available. So I'm going to leave that number for you guys in the comments. Put it in the description. But like I said, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel. I gave you guys the tea about Ava. I feel like that's going to come into play. It's going to be important. You guys are going to be thankful that you know this a little bit of tea. And I will post the photos from the episode in my community page for you guys, because once I post it, you know, everyone will be talking about it. So all right, guys, we'll have a great day. Happy Thursday, one more day. Yeah, so all right, guys, we'll talk soon. Have a great one.